Okay, today we're over at the range. We're comparing the Remington Jack 13 and the Honcho. And so you've seen the Honcho already fired, and there's plenty of videos out for the Remington. I will keep this kind of short and sweet. First thing I noticed right away is the thickness of the barrel is substantially thicker on the Honcho compared to the Remington. Though the Remington does have a cleaner look, more finished, more refined. I'm gonna go ahead and get shooting. All right, so our first round is a slug, 2 3/4 inch, and then we're followed by some 3-inch bird shot. To extract these 3-inchers. Same deal.
That bird shot's that's not ejecting very well.
Now let's see if we got another one.
Yeah, that's not it.
No.
I'm curious. Try that slug.
Alright. Let's see. Mr. Adams. Yeah, so the laser's to the right quite a bit. So yeah, I need to bring that laser over here to hit the target because I hit right there.
You feel how those slugs are reliable stuff,
They're
right?
not bad.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got Southern Belay, buckshot, double-aught. This stuff doesn't have a velocity on the box. Weird. Sorry about the wind, but it's a windy day. All right, we're going for the rack, I think. Yeah. All right, we're just gonna rapid fire this rack here.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
What'd I hit?
Oh, that's everything.
Everything.
With double-aught buck, hell, you hit everything. Whoa. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, so aiming down with this front strap, it really does help support, keeping it from coming back.
Yeah.
So this becomes your support arm. The laser is linear, at least. I just have to bring it closer in.
Yeah.
All right, one on the rat just to see what our spread is.
Oh, yeah.
Here we've got the buckshot hits.
You want to shoot the rats?
Shoot the rat.
Shooting the rats.
You're way high. You're about 3 feet above the rat. So now we have the Brennecke, 1.5 ounces, and we've got 1,600 foot per second muzzle velocity. I'm sure this one's going to be dropping it down quite a bit since it's a 13-inch barrel. But we'll give these a shot and see if it'll cycle these 3-inchers. Let's try aiming these. What could possibly go wrong? This over the top. You see me jerk that?
Yeah, that's not cycling very well either.
No, had one fail. Just to the left.
Beautiful.
Well, these are the last Brenneckes I have.
Okay.
So I'll save the last one for you.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right. So this one I'm going to try hip shooting. See if I can even get close. Ready?
Fire in the hole.
A little low.
Whoa, way high.
Yeah. Last five.
That's a plowing the field pretty good there, dude.
Yeah, so it's hanging up because it's so dirty. You definitely feel the weight difference up there too when all the rounds start to complete.
Yeah.
That last one feels way different. So we're back from the range here. A few things that I noticed right off the bat is if you're planning on using a light on the rail here, this is kind of what it looks like after you're all done. The lens is completely covered with gunpowder residue. It does project from the barrel just slightly. Another thing is when you go to clean it, you have to take off the rail, you have to unclamp this, and then you can undo your magazine tube, and then you're able to slide out your barrel. Compared to the Charles Daly, this is going to be much more difficult to clean. The owner's manual is a lot better written. It is laid out much better. But when it comes to cleaning the firearm and taking it down, you've got 10 pages plus an addendum for when your bolt gets stuck either open or closed as you're taking it apart. So you've got quite a bit more information, and there's a lot of red stuff, warning notices throughout. A lot of the warning notices are safety, but there's quite a few. And to take this down, to clean it, is not going to be nearly as easy as the Charles Daly. The quality of this seems to be better, not only just the firearms manual, but the firearm itself. It is a little bit heavier than the Charles Daly. It's hard to determine whether or not this is recoiling harder or softer than the Charles, but it's fairly comparable. The best you can do to feel the recoil is to hip shoot it, and then it's locked up against the side of your body so you can feel the recoil a little bit better. My plan is to put on a brace, and this comes with a pistol grip. I considered doing the folding brace, but my fear, even though they say it's okay, my fear is that with it folded up, it is still operational. Technically, at that point, it would be under length because it's not going to fold back here, it's going to fold up here. So now your overall length is going to be much shorter than what's allowable. So even though it's been accepted, I fear that at some point they might redact that, just the same as when they redacted being able to shoulder your pistol brace. I'm going to try this out with the brace, see how that operates. I did have a few failures to feed on the Cellar and Belay buck. It looks like confetti coming out of the shotgun. So the little fiber wad in here, that tears apart and it just shreds in the air, and it looks like confetti when you're shooting it. But there's such a difference in velocities between one shot to the next. I did not run this through a chronograph, but you can feel it. Some feel heavy, some feel like unusually light. A few times I've had a failure to eject and a failure to feed on the following round. And then I also had a failure to feed on the 3-inch Brennecke Magnum Crush. So those are running a higher velocity, and it's potentially over-gassing and just closing the bolt before it has a chance to chamber the next round. And I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but at any rate, I'm going to lube up the magazine tube, hopefully to eliminate that as a potential reason for it, and we will take it back out after I clean it up, because again, I just took this straight from the box to the range, and I did not put any lube or anything in it. I just wanted to run it straight out of the box just to see how it operates. We ran about a total of 150 rounds through it. and we had probably about 4 or 5 failures. I did not get them all on video. This next round out, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make a second part to this so it's not horribly long, but the next round out, I'm gonna run it again and try to capture all those failures on video this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and start disassembling this. And like I say, it's not as easy as the Charles Daly. And it looks like I'm gonna have to get some more tools anyways. So the pistol brace comes with all metric screws. It does not come with a metric Allen. And it appears as though the Remington is all metric as well. Being that you have to remove this barrel band and magazine support, which has your rail on it. You don't want to put Loctite on there to avoid stripping that out. And so I'm probably going to eliminate that and maybe look at getting a red dot sight on top. We'll try that out. But let's see if I'm wrong there. I could be mistaken, because you might be able to loosen it all up right here, but it does not appear so. Nope, I am not mistaken. Okay, so you do have to take this off every time. And of course, they've got a different size on that Allen. So the Charles Daly is a lot more tool-free disassembly. The one thing you do need is a punch to take out the trigger guard, which you need here as well. And on top of that, they've got different sizes for all these different Allens. So now you're having to carry multiple tools. Typically with my ARs, I grab this little Gerber tool and it fits inside the pistol grips if you have the type that closes. This one is not. But of course, it has majority of the tools you need for an AR, but it's not going to work for this other than with the brace, the spanner wrench. But with this loosened up, you can then loosen up your magazine extender here, and it is under spring pressure. This is my first time disassembling it, so we will see how well that goes. There we go. Actually, I got the barrel and foregrip all in one piece. There's a little bit of gas residue on the magazine tube. We've got a little spot of oil left over from the manufacturer. And one thing that this has better than the Charles Daly is less moving parts right in the foregrip area. And then we've got 2 pistons. And I believe you have to get an Allen wrench in here to unscrew these to allow them to come out forward instead of backwards. They've got little detents to prevent them from going all the way back. On the face here, it is an Allen wrench, and I believe this will unscrew and remove it. I could go through the 10 pages of instructions there, but that's a little absurd. This will allow you to clean the barrel pretty easy. So really, the only tools you need is the Allen screws, and if you're running the rail, smaller Allen. Let's see if I can see the size there. I think that is a 3mm for the rail screw. Yes. And we are running a 4mm for the barrel band. And that is it. So then it's just a punch to pull out the trigger group. There's really no reason to do that. I'm gonna still do it just to kind of inspect it, make sure there's no gas shooting by there as well. Like most Remingtons, the trigger group's gonna just drop straight out. We do have quite a bit of copper in here. So that's telling me that it's scraping the cases, which is possibly why we're getting failure to feeds. So looks like a lot of it is back here. And then we do have some along the bolt face area. To remove the bolt handle, you have to allow the bolt to ride all the way forward until the handle is touching the front of the receiver. And then it allows you, and this of course is under spring pressure too, so you want to get your finger in front of it, but it allows you to then pull out your bolt handle and your bolt will come forward and out. Then we've got the two operating springs right here, which is the only reason that it allows us to do something as fancy as putting a brace on. Now the Charles Daly, I believe you can get a brace for it at some point. They just don't have them yet. Its spring mechanism being up front here allows you to do the same where you can put on a brace. We've got one Allen back here, which of course is a different size again. So 3/16 is the size. There we go. So that's the screw and base plate there. And then we can go ahead and put this guy on. Of course, I'll have to take this back apart. To get the screw in there. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I will. Let me go ahead and do that now. And I'm gonna put a little dot of Loctite in there too. Just so it holds it in better. So they have a lock washer and a star washer. I already know that since this is plastic, they're gonna want the star washer with that and the lock washer with the metal. I am assuming, unless otherwise noted here, that we are going to be using the the short. Oh no, we are going to be using the long screw. So the short one is too short. So long screw it is. And really this is a bolt, machine bolt. Yeah, see that barely protrudes through once you've got the lock washer on there. So that is perfect. To take out the gas pistons, it's a 3/16 to take out the plug. And the first one that I had quite a bit of powder residue. It was dried up and in chunks. This one has a little bit on the face there, but it wasn't as bad. It was a lot tighter coming out though. So I could see some chunks in the threaded area there. Yeah, there's some falling out. Yeah, so it's pretty dried up. I know for a fact that the Cellar & Belay brand runs dirty. And I know some people have pretty decent luck with it, but whenever I use it, I end up having to, on the pistols, take down the magazines and completely strip them down, lube everything up separately because it is dirty powder. And I didn't run a whole lot through this shotgun, and it's pretty dirty. And I know I can't blame it all on the Cellar & Belay on this one because we did shoot several different brands, but it does tend to run dirty. I do have some copper pieces in the barrel here. I don't know if you can see those or not. The Charles Daly barrel thickness is 0.065 inch. Remington, we have 0.050. I've got 0.53, 0.47, sorry, 0.047, 0.051. So it's not the most consistent. About 0.014 difference, 0.015, 0.14 difference between the barrel thickness at the tip, at least, between the Charles Daly and the Remington. Now, this is a tapered barrel, of course. The chamber ends right about here, so we've got a pretty good flare, and it actually tapers down again at about 4 or 5 inches in, and it's got a slight taper all the way to the tip. With the barrel band here, we're adding a little bit of weight. You can see the clamps are already starting to wear through the finish on both sides. So I'm not sure how durable this finish will be. Not that that really matters. If it starts to wear through, I'll just Cerakote it. And I'm going to go ahead and start to place this back together. I had to get some gloves since I was working on getting all the carbon cleaned off of these. There we go. Now, of course, I already lined this up beforehand, and so that way it would stop right where I need it to. But I think that'll be pretty nice. It's fully collapsed in, so even fully collapsed, I can still get a good cheek weld on it. It's a little tight, but in full length, that's not too bad. So we're gonna have some fun with that one, especially with this front strap. Yeah, it's not horrible. So I can definitely get some forward pressure on this front strap while I'm getting that shouldered. This grip doesn't hide the safety horribly, but it is recessed in there a bit. So I won't be able to press it just with my finger anymore. I'll have to use the fingertip. Our next trip out to the range, hopefully I'll have a rail with a red dot, and we'll see how accurate we can get. We're going to do some pattern tests, make sure that even at close distance it's not spreading out too far, so I'll do a round or two with buckshot and birdshot, and then we'll do some slugs and see what kind of accuracy I have out at range 2. If I can locate my chronograph, I'll get some chronographs on those Brennecke slugs. They claim 1600 feet per second. They don't say what barrel length that was tested at. If I can get even 1400 feet per second with 1.5 ounces out of this short barrel, that would be substantial. Typically with these shorter barrels on a shotgun, you do lose a couple 100 feet per second. On some of the birdshot and buckshot, it might be closer to 100 foot per second between this and a 30-inch barrel. Paul Harrell just did a video on that, and he was losing on buckshot between this short barrel and a 30-inch 100 feet per second. This is going to take some cleaning to get all this residue off. I got quite a bit of it off already. We're just a little powder residue left, so I think this light will be ending up going on a pistol instead. I do really like that it's a laser and light combo. The laser is actually still clean. It was protected enough. I will see you back out on the range with this thing. So far I'm not impressed with the first round out, but I really wasn't impressed with the Charles Daly either. The Charles Daly is operating way better with 2 3/4 inch rounds. The 3-inchers, it's still struggling. Since I plan on running 3-inch, the Brenneckes are 3-inch. I really need it to operate properly with that. Yeah, I'm gonna run some more rounds through it, see what we get. And like I say, I'm not a Remington fan. If I end up saying I like it, it might be a decent one. I do like that the Charles Daly is toolless as far as takedown. I was struggling a bit with getting the barrel end off, and I also do not like that the Charles Daly's spring keeper has already broke. That is not a good sign that they used just a plastic one. Now that being said, they did knurl the end of that magazine tube. They knurled that down, so you could potentially ream that knurl down and gain another inch of room, and that might allow you to fit 5 rounds instead of 4 in the tube, so then you could have a 5+1 just like this is. It might be real close. If that's the case, that might be kind of a neat way to do so, even though they did not intend as that. So that might be a kind of a neat side feature of having just a plastic washer in the end of that. Of course, to get a metal one in there, I have to completely get that tube apart and have it held in by that rolled knurl. I'd have to open that up and then roll it back down again. So that would be kind of difficult to do. Other than that, it would be removing that tube completely and running the washer down this way and then putting it all together and putting it back onto the gun. That might not be the ideal choice either.